When I was 21, I started a business with $0 that has gone on to make millions in revenue. In today's video, I'm going to share that journey with you so that you can do the same thing starting today. So when I first started my journey to build a business, to make $1 million from the business, I did so as a freelancer. So I lowered the bar right down and I said, first, let me come up with a problem that I can solve for people. So what's a problem that someone has? And I discovered a problem that a number of publishing houses didn't know how to use digital marketing. And that was something that I knew very well. So I was able to help them with that problem, and I would just offer my services purely as me. There was no business, no structure behind it. I just said, look, I can help you promote that book, and here is my fee to help you do it, and would you like to pay me to do it? And I would go around and pitch my services to various publishing companies. And then what happened is I would also help independent authors, and it grew and grew and grew from there. Still just operating as a freelancer. And this is the very first step that you need, is to find a problem you can solve for people and charge them money for that. So that's how you get the ball rolling. That's how you take that very first tiny snowball and you start rolling it down the hill. The next step was then to create a website. So I wanted more people to know about me, to know about my services. And I wasn't even thinking about a company yet. The very first thing that I was going to do is to simply build a website. Now, again, I didn't want to spend any money on this. I was only just getting going, and the money I was making as a freelancer, I was using to pay my bills and to pay my living costs. So I begged, borrowed, and eventually managed to get a template from a friend. I said, look, your website looks great. Where did you get that template? And he said, oh, here you go. You can have this template. So I used it from him. I offered him some marketing services in return to help him out with some bits and pieces. And that was how I first started building the website. Now, I was not a programmer. I didn't know how to code. So what I did was I went online and I found a number of free courses. And that was just enough to get that website up and running. If you go on the Wayback Machine and you look at publishingpush.com, the very first version of that website, you'll probably laugh. But the point is, it got me started. It wasn't just me going out and cold emailing, pitching, cold calling to find people and getting referrals. There was then a website that I could promote and I could send people to. And that was the first step that then led me to start building a business. So then at this point, I had my website and I was starting to get busier. So the next step was, of course, to create a business. This was going to help me, save money on tax. And it was also more professional to be able to pitch for work and have an actual registered company. So this is very simple to do. You can go on the government website, set this up really simply. So then I had my business, I had my website, I had leads, I was making money, all of which I hadn't spent any money at all. And that's why I think a service-based business is a really great way for you to just get started with making money, get yourself up and running, and start the business. What I started with is now very different to what we do now. The next step then from here was to build a business. And what I've always done is try and make myself as busy as possible before I hire anyone. So sorry to some of my early staff, but what I would do is generate as many leads as possible, and even when it was just me, I reached max capacity before I hired someone. The reason for this is if you're bootstrapping a business, which means using the money that's coming in from your customers, you don't have a lot of excess capital in the early days. So you have to stretch yourself to absolute capacity before you hire. A lot of people ask me this question. They say, when should I hire more people? And I say, when you are so busy, you're beyond what you thought you could manage, and your staff are screaming at you that you need more people. That's the point at which you pull the trigger and you hire more people. And so at that stage, I was wearing all of the hats. I was the person delivering the service. I was doing the customer service. I was pitching for new business. And it was easy because I was young. I had all the hours in the day. That was all I did, was work 7 till 7. And so I could deliver on all of that. And as you grow, one of the most important things is how do you make sure that the business doesn't go broke? Because I see this happen a lot to people. And it goes back to the point I made about only hire when you are at maximum capacity and constantly review what you're spending money on. So that's something I do as well, is I'm constantly looking, even to this day. I get a printout of the financials, and I have an accountant who does this as well. But there are certain things I look at, and then I'll go to my team members and say, do we still need that piece of software? Are we still actually using that? Or, how many seats do we have on that bit of software? And I'm constantly looking at where we can, save money. Because if we can save £100 here, £50 there, £500 there, it adds up really fast. And you could even be hiring another employee purely based on the money you've saved on stuff that you're not really using all the time. And then a lot of people ask as well, what keeps you going through the difficult times? And for me, what I really enjoy is the feedback we get from people that we work with. We have authors who say to us, you have changed my life. You've helped make a dream come true. And that's really helped push through the difficult points in the business. I think one thing you have to do is really take a step back every now and again and look at the impact you've had. That's going to keep you going through all those difficult moments. I hope you've enjoyed this video all about how I started my business with $0 and grew it to millions in revenue. If you know someone who is trying to do the same, make sure to share this video with them. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out some of the links below in the description. I have a newsletter where I go into even more depth on some of these topics, so make sure to subscribe there, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.